Good morning, good morning, good morning, CEOs. Good morning, co-creators of extraordinary outcomes. This is Monday Morning Magic. Monday Morning Magic. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Woo! What a week! What a week! What a week! What a week! Let me shout out my girl NH. I'm not going to break nobody's confidentiality, but let me shout her out. She know who she is. We had a wonderful conversation this week, and she said, I don't catch you live, but I watch the replays, and I get so much out of it. But also, let me let you know I see that you're more relaxed. You seem a little bit more confident in doing these video clips. And I said, thank you. Thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. Listen, didn't back it up with no excuses. No, yeah, but none of that. And we're going to get into this in a moment, right? Because the topic is don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. But as we normally do, let's do a check in and find out how was your week? How was your week? Anything exciting happened? Is there anything that you can improve upon? How was your week? I want to talk about when I created this topic, don't be bashful. I had one thing on my mind, which I am going to include inside of this broadcast. But so much has happened since I created the topic. Let me just say this. So I have topics rolling out every week beforehand. I don't want to wait until that day or the night before to roll out the topic. So I already know what I want to speak about maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in advance. And as you know, time will give you some more information to add to the topic. And I'm laughing and I'm smiling because all the things that happened this week tied right into the topic of don't be bashful. And you might say, Coach B, what the heck are you talking about? First, let me say Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's the proper name. Congratulations on the Super Bowl win. Also, let me say Usher did his thing yesterday in the Super Bowl. I love the performance. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I don't bring up Monique's interview on Club Shay Shay. And you might say, Coach B, you got time to be watching YouTube like that? Well, like I said before, I'm watching it for learning purposes, content purposes. And what do I mean by that? What did she say that resonated with the topic that I have for today? Don't be bashful. And when I originally thought about don't be bashful, I was thinking about, do we give ourselves credit? Do we acknowledge ourselves for the work that we do? Or do we shy away from a compliment when it is given? As I said earlier, NH was like, hey, you look a little bit more comfortable, a lot more confident, because they had been watching me for a while in this YouTube space, Facebook space. And I was like, thank you for noticing. Because what happens is sometimes people give us a compliment and it's hard for us to accept. It's hard for us to believe and know that people are legitimate when they are giving us a compliment. So, working with my coach is like, if somebody gives you a compliment, just say thank you for noticing. You don't have to add anything. You don't have to subtract anything. You don't have to make excuses about, well, I could have done this better and I could have did this. You don't have to be critical of yourself when a compliment. And initially, when I was talking about don't be bashful, I was really talking about or thinking about, do we give ourselves a pat on the back? Do we need a pat on the back from someone else? Because sometimes external motivation is important, especially when you're whatever that venue is, when you're first starting out, yeah, sometimes somebody giving you a pat on the back is definitely important. I don't know. I just saw something with the internet. I hope it's okay. That yeah, when you're first starting out, sometimes we need encouragement. We need motivators from the outside until we can internalize it and have it for ourselves. And yet, sometimes we're motivated internally, but we don't give ourselves credit. Like, I know I am a good worker, an excellent worker. I love my craft. I love what I do. But sometimes I don't sit back and acknowledge, you know what, you did a great job on that one. Don't be bashful. Acknowledge your wins. Acknowledge when you have made a leap into something, that you have actually processed some information, learn from that information, and now you can apply that information. Don't be bashful. And then, as I said, the topic was created a long time ago. But what did Monique bring to the topic? Monique brought to the topic, and listen, I get it. Some people like her style, don't like her style. I'm like, listen, don't kill the messenger. Get get to the message. What's the message? What is it that she's trying to say? And have you ever experienced being lowballed, played out of pocket? Have you ever had to advocate for yourself and other people? Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. Sometimes, and I know this from my work experience, that sometimes things happen in your arena. And what I've been noticing, it doesn't matter what your arena is. It could be sports, it could be music, it could be coaching, it could be teaching, it could be football. It doesn't matter what your arena is. But there are common themes that may run true through each of these arenas as it relates to how we do business. Are people lowballed? Are people promised things that they never receive? Does hard work pay off? Is it who you know that advances you? Go, should you take a less price for your service? In hopes that, you know what, one day you'll get the right price for your service. So people have different experiences, and they also have different value points, different moral points, different principle points as it relates to this topic. Should I say something? When should I say something? Who should I say it to? And how should I say it? Do I say anything at all? Or do I just roll with the punches and let it be what it is? Do I pick my arguments? So, in the Monique situation, what are some of the lessons? What is she saying? She's saying that, listen, I stand on what I stand on. This is where my integrity lies. If I see something, I'm going to say something. Now, some people might say, well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Again, people have different values, different morals, different principles, different frames of ethical considerations. My question here as a coach is, what are your values? What are your principles? What are your ethics as it relates to how you carry yourself and how you do business with other people? What are those relationships like? Don't be bashful. Are you working and not getting credit for your work? Do you need to ask for a raise and you are afraid to ask for it? Are you settling? Are you afraid of the status quo? Are you afraid of being labeled a troublemaker if you speak up? Are you allowing certain things to happen in your life and not speaking on it. Don't be bashful. Yeah, don't be bashful about it. Are you giving yourself credit? Can you take a compliment? All of these things, what they have in common is our self concept and our world concept. How do we see ourselves, and how do we see ourselves in the world in which we live? Meaning the big world, our community. And then there's the other world, the world that I'm creating for myself. Am I dissatisfied and not willing to take the steps to correct that? Am I being silent when I need to speak? Am I speaking too much? Am I talking about the same old, and I'm just running it into the hole and nobody cares anymore? I don't know. But what I do know is this: to thy own self be true. Let me say that again. To thy own self be true. We all know internally whether or not we're holding up our end of the bargain. We know when we are falling short. We know when we are going to go get the bag, as they say. And when I say go get the bag, I'm not necessarily talking about money, but money could be a part of it. We know when we are not showing up fully. We know when we're not giving our best. We know when we are taking shortcuts. We know when people are taking advantage. We know these things. We know these things intuitively, instinctively. We know these things. Now we have this information. The question is, what are we going to do with the information? How does fear play a part of not showing up fully? How does fear play a part in not asking for what you need? How does fear play a part in settling for something less than what you deserve? How does fear stop you from advocating for yourself and the things that you need? Don't be bashful. No. Don't be bashful. How do we then speak up for what it is that we need? How do you speak up for what you need? And where do you draw the line? Don't be bashful. So sometimes the fear of I'm going to lose something will keep you tied into something that's not sitting comfortable with you. I've had several situations throughout my career where I needed to speak up and I needed to say something, but I knew that when I did it, it was going to change the nature of the relationship. And sometimes we don't speak up about certain things because we really don't want the nature of the relationship to change. Do you want to be blackballed in your industry? Do you want to be labeled a troublemaker? Do you want to be labeled, oh, you're always saying something about something? Why can't you let this ride? And sometimes those statements are designed to keep you in a holding pen. So it creates doubt and uncertainty in what it is that you're actually trying to proclaim. I remember growing up, I would say certain things, and my parents would chastise me. They would actually scold me for speaking up. So, what was I learning in the process? That what I needed to say would come with some type of criticism, some type of punishment, that I really didn't have the right to be authentic in what I felt, what I thought, that I didn't have a right to be that. And so as an adult now, I'm discovering, wait a minute, How's that stuff trickling into my work relationships? How's it trickling in? How's it trickling in my relationship with other adults? Does it impact whether or not I ask for what I need? Does it ask does it impact whether I ask for what I want? Does it impact me asking for what I deserve? Many of us have been taught to shrink ourselves. Don't say nothing. Don't rock the boat. Don't be a troublemaker. We have been taught to shrink ourselves. And don't brag. Don't boast. Nobody likes a bragger. Nobody likes a boaster. So don't you dare go out and tell people the good things that you're doing, because you're going to look X, Y, and Z. And I'm saying to you today, don't be bashful. Irrespective of what that category is, or subject, or area is, don't be bashful. If you need to advocate for yourself, advocate for yourself. If you need to ask for something that you need, ask for what you need. If you did a great job, let somebody know you did a great job. Don't be bashful. Don't shrink. Don't shrink. Don't be bashful. It is okay to say to people that are in your network, people that want you to win, you know what? I just landed this wonderful contract. It is an amazing opportunity. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You don't have to hold yourself back. You don't have to be pompous about it. Meaning what? That every other word is about, oh, I just did this, I just did. No, we don't want that neither. But it's nothing wrong with being with your friends and your family, people that support you, that understand what you're after, to say, hey, yeah, I did get that contract. I worked hard for that. I deserve that. And yeah, you know what? It's a beautiful thing. Let me self-acknowledge that, and then let me share it with one other person that I know that has my back. Let's learn to celebrate each other. And when we need to speak up for something that doesn't allow us to grow, let's be supportive of one another. Let's do that too. Don't be bashful. In my industry, people know. People know I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say something. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to get in some good trouble. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be bashful, because here's the thing that I learned, that my voice has power. That my voice has power. I don't want to be bashful. I don't want to play small. I don't want to shrink for somebody else's comfort. That's not a choice for me. That's not a thing for me. I don't want to shrink, right? And I'm also growing every day. So guess what? My name is Coach B, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. Let me say that again. My name is Coach B, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. And why do I use the word co-creator? Because I'm in relations with other people, other organizations, and with myself. And I'm creating for myself the same thing I want to create for you. So here we go. Let me drive this home. Don't be bashful. And I say this week after week. I'm creating a lifestyle that I want for myself. I'm creating a lifestyle that I want for myself. See, I know what it's like to be on the other end. I know what it's like to be on the other end of hoping, wishing, and praying, but not putting in the footwork to actually get what it is that I want, or thinking that somebody's going to give me an opportunity without me working for it. I know what it's like to put the footwork in. I know what it's like to envision something and watch it materialize. I know what that's like. And I only know what that's like. And this is not coming from the books, but the research will support it. That once I make up my mind and I follow it through with the footwork, and I actually do what's required. It's an inside job. Do what's required, then my outside looks way different than what I've ever imagined. And what I mean by that is that I can see one thing, but the universe will make it so much bigger and plainer than what I ever imagined. So you got to be in it to win it. Don't be bashful. Don't be afraid to tell people, listen, I'm going for my goals. This is what I want to accomplish. I was listening to Usher in his interviews. And what did Usher say? Usher said, yeah, he saw himself one day at the Super Bowl. Did you hear what he said in his performance yesterday? They thought I couldn't make it. And here I am. Yeah, here I am. Don't be bashful. I've listened to people accept awards in the past and now in the present. And I think Snoop Dogg was one of the first ones to do it. He says, yeah, I want to acknowledge other people, but I want to acknowledge me. I did the work. I did the work. Yes, I didn't do it by myself. I had other people to support me. No man is an island. Yeah. But I want to acknowledge me. Don't be bashful. I want to acknowledge me for putting in the footwork. I want to acknowledge me for being consistent. I want to acknowledge me for being not only consistent, but constant. I want to acknowledge me for being creative, for having a creative idea. I want to acknowledge me for being resilient. Because there's been times that things didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And I still had to have that internal talk with myself. Like, girl, you better get yourself back up and get yourself back in the game. You better play this thing out. Yeah, I've had some setbacks. I've talked about it. Don't be bashful. Talk about it. Whether it's good, well, you know what I'm saying. I don't even want to say good or bad because that's a judgment. I'm saying share your experience. Share your experience. And what do I mean? Don't be bashful. If you need to advocate, advocate. If you need to do more internal work, do more internal work and just acknowledge that. If you have some successes, you have some wins, acknowledge that too. Acknowledge that too. We do not have to play small anymore. We do not have to play small anymore. And if you need to advocate for yourself, for something that you need and want, and it doesn't go in your favor, it's all good. Please don't be afraid of criticism, and please don't be afraid of losing people out of your life. Because guess what? People are going to come and go out of your life. And that includes partnerships, significant others, and family. You know, I was watching Usher's interview, and we all know that his mom used to what? His mom used to manage him at one point. And we all know that, you know, they went through their ups and downs about it. They went through their ups and downs. He said, you know, as I was maturing and coming into myself and becoming a man, that I needed to make some decisions for myself. Now, whether he made the best decisions or not, that's on him. But he realized that, you know what? He loves his mom. And she was a good manager, and she brought him to a certain level. But there was another level that he needed to go to. And it's true. Sometimes in our lives, in order for us to get and go to the next place, there's going to be a change in the relationship arena. It's going to look different. It's going to sound different. And it's not because one person thinks they're better than the other person, or this person is this and that person is that. Sometimes in life, what happens is that our needs and our wants are different. Our needs and wants are different. It's just as simple as that. Our needs and our wants are different. And we start to take a look at what's working in our life, and that's in all relationships, and what's not working. Can we come together? We can find a win for you, find a win for me, and then we can move on. Don't be bashful to ask for what you need and want. Over the last couple of years, I've had new people come into my life, and I've had some people that have been with me for a while, and those relationships have changed. And guess what? That's part of life. People are going to come and people are going to go. What I want to say though is when those relationships go, we want to end them as peacefully as possible. And if it doesn't happen, that is okay too. Again, don't be bashful. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And if asking for what you want means that the relationship changes or it doesn't exist anymore, then that's what it is. But we cannot afford to stay in relationships that are unhealthy because we don't want to rock the boat, because we don't want to advocate for ourselves, because we don't want to show our worth or talk about our worth in relationships. It doesn't pay off. It doesn't pay off mentally. It doesn't pay off emotionally. It doesn't pay off spiritually. And it doesn't pay off spiritually when you're shrinking yourself to accommodate others. Don't be bashful. Like I said, when I first thought about this topic, wow. When I first thought about this topic, I was really thinking about, do we give ourselves grace and do we give ourselves compliments? And then, as I said, so many things happened during the week that it morphed into, do we advocate for ourselves? Do we take a stand? Do we speak up? Do we ask for what we want? Do we ask for what we need? Do we say something when we see something? And how does fear play a big part in us being quiet, not speaking up, not asking for what we need? And how much of that has been social conditioning for us to stay in our place? I've already spoke about, how I was raised, and that's social conditioning. And now, as an adult, to unlearn so that I could relearn and show up more powerfully for myself and for others. Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful, because it doesn't serve the purpose. We're not talking about, and let me be clear, we're not talking about conceit or anything like that. We're talking about being authentically you. You are a valuable person. You have assets. Your wants, your needs are equally important as those that you are in partnerships with, be it business, significant other, or with family. Your needs, your wants, your voice is equally important. This has been your Monday Morning Magic. See you next Monday. And again, don't be bashful. Ask for what you want, ask for what you need. And if you see something, please be an advocate and say something. I'll see you next Monday.